You can call it.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the City of Trinidad at 6 o'clock. The regular meeting of the City of Trinidad, City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, will be held on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in City Council Chambers at City Hall, 135 North Animas Street, Trinidad, Colorado, 81082. Les, could you lead us in the pledge?
Of course, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The following items are on file for consideration of council. Kimberly, could you do roll call?
Peters.
Here.
Rossetti.
Here.
Shu.
Yes.
Trahell.
Here.
Venor. Here. Williamson.
Here.
Michaels.
Here. Need a motion to approve the agenda or any changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Peters.
Excuse me? Motion to approve the
Yeah.
agenda.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Rossetti. Rossetti.
Yes. Sorry.
Shu.
I'll have to pass. I did.
Trahell.
Yes.
Venor.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Item number 3, policy items and staff reports. Tara?
We have none this evening, Madam Mayor.
Petitions, item number 4, petitions or communications.
Excuse me.
Well,
One
yes.
second, can I ask something?
Sure, absolutely.
I would like, Ms. Marshall, if you could, in your staff report,
Yes.
if you could explain to the public why the other 3 utilities are not having a hearing and only 2 are?
I can.
For to be
I plan to.
transparency for the city, please?
I absolutely plan to.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
Mr. Jimenez? The public comment section offers an opportunity for any citizen to express opinions or ask any questions regarding city services, policies, or other matters of community concern, and any agenda items that are not part of a scheduled public hearing. Citizens will have 5 minutes for comments. This time limit was established to provide efficiency in the conduct of the meeting and to allow equal opportunity for everyone wishing to speak. An immediate response should not be expected, as issues are typically referred to city staff for follow-up or research, and are then reported back to council and the individual who initiated the comment or inquiry. Written materials for presentation to council must be submitted to the city clerk as the other speaker approaches the podium.
Is that part of his 5 minutes?
Yeah, it is.
But
Of course, my name is Salvador Jimenez, and I live at 1504 Grant Avenue. I moved here in 08, 2008. Does everybody have one of these?
Okay.
Who doesn't have one? Anybody else?
We're good, thank you.
All right, so I stopped another attack on the United States, 9/11, like, in 2006. I worked at military bases. San Diego is a military town. I took every job there was. So,
you speak up.
sorry, is the microphone a little closer?
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Please. It's kind of directional, so if you point it right at it and speak into it.
All right. So San Diego is a military
Thank
town, and I took every job there was. And in 2006, like I said, I stopped another attack in the United States, like the 9/11. The feds were all over me, Homeland Security, every every federal agency because I worked in military bases as a civilian. So this terrorist was a neighbor, and San Diego was full of Middle Eastern people. So I didn't want to be in the witness protection, so I moved here. So I could just hide and not be in the witness protection. Also worked on nukes, classified stuff. I stopped 4 Iraqis that put a gun to a baby's head. I stopped some kidnappings in San Diego to the country of Mexico. I'm a good guy. So we moved to this house, and this house seems to have, I don't know, the lights flicker, and people listen to our conversations. They react outside. They're there till 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. My wife is a witness, Anna Jimenez. We thought this house was a drug house because, but it could be a cyber attack. As soon as we turn off the TV, they leave, or I disconnect the TV, the internet, they leave. So I can't figure out what it is. Not too long ago, last year, a couple kids hit me with skateboards. Hit me in the jaw, gave me concussion. They lied, told the police officers that I wanted to kill them, all kinds of stuff, that I shined the lights on them, but they came to my front of the driveway saying they're gonna burn my wife, burn down the house, burn me down, and then shoot us. So it's dark over there, so I had the light. I was looking at the stars and whatever those satellites, because they moved. I was making a move. That's what I was kind of impressed by myself. I was excited. Started calling me names. So I went over there to figure out who it was, because I have a stack of cards, from officers coming to the house of being harassed. Me and my wife asked, "What, babe?" So that night, I got hit. So the kids lied. I didn't get no medical attention because they said that they never hit me. So I spent in jail with a jaw out of place and a concussion. And we've been harassed. And I'm just coming to you guys. So there's no lawsuits. I just want you guys to take care of it. Because we all know the city don't have no money. And I don't want to take it. So I'm here so you guys can fix it, help us out. And there's cameras, there's people with cameras trying to set me up. I've known my wife since she was 16. I was about 20, going on 21. I said, this isn't, you can't be with me. I said, you gotta graduate, finish school. So I figured she's gonna wait until 18 or 19. And she was 17, emancipated herself, and she graduated.
1 minute, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, so anyways, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I need you guys' help. So, investigations, you guys are willing to call the FBI office in Denver, any federal agencies, but
Before I say anything else, I just really want to thank you for your service from my heart. That is a lot of stuff that you've done. So
as a
thank you for
civilian,
that.
I did
Yeah.
that also.
Ms. Marshall?
Thank you, Sal.
One of us can reach out to Mr.
Okay,
we will.
Jimenez, yep, and we will talk to him.
Thank you.
Happy to do
Thank
that.
you, sir.
Thank you.
I just, that's chief, thank you.
Thank
Good.
you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sal.
Hugh Moore?
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, I'd like to discuss, or at least give you my opinion of the rate increase that you're thinking about doing. I heard there's an option to just deny it totally, and I think that would be the way to go. I made a post today, posting you two people,
The
two
two
ladies,
emails.
pardon me. And when I find the rest of you, my next post will have all of you on it. You're not talking to the constituents and finding out what we want. And that's what we voted you in for, isn't it? I think. So, there you go. Let's deny this thing.
Thank you for coming forward. I can tell you that everyone up here loves Trinidad dearly, and I do, or I wouldn't have run, and we will do the very best that we can for everybody. Thanks for coming forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Kyle Fitzgerald.
Hi, I looked at the agenda at about 5:30 today, and I saw two topics where I know two main people on. Public utilities, I know the director of the Renew program and the director of CPACE that covers commercial properties. I'd urge you to include a commercial solar plan, but the county is approved of CPACE. More to the point of why I wanted to talk. Tura is in charge of tax increment financing. Right now, I'm talking with the county assessor, Jody Amato, but I know the director of operations for over 20 years. I can make Cougar Canyon happen. We've talked about moving the debt, $50 million roughly. That's the number I got from Tony Haas. We can place it under current tax bills. We can make it debt-free. I can call Bill Schroem on his personal cell phone number. I would love to be a consultant on both programs, the utility increase and anything involving Tura. I don't have really an agenda. It's just, I know these people. Use me. I think I left my cell phone number, but Sally has all my info.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you for everything you've done for our community. Miss Marshall will reach out to you, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Sure.
Thank you.
Council reports. You want to start with you, Aaron?
Mayor, I have no report this week.
I actually have.
Uh-huh.
So I met last Thursday with several stakeholders. The Coalition for the Unhoused, Keep Trinidad Safe, Purgatory River Watershed Partnership, and local business people. And so I just wanted to let citizens know that these groups are working together to try to come up with some solutions that will satisfy our citizenry with respect to helping the unhoused and helping to keep our public spaces clean and needle-free and all of that. So they are meeting, and I was really encouraged to see that. And so, I mean, nothing on the agenda yet, but just to let you know, people are discussing. They need, of course, volunteers. There is on the 27th, the Los Animas County point in time count, and that's a critical count. It counts the number of homeless people in our community, and that will help them to leverage, with the state to get allocated funding from the feds. So if we have a count, because this community is ignored when it comes to homelessness at the state level. So if anybody would like to volunteer, I put some flyers out there to help do the point in time count, and for any other volunteer work you might want to do on these with these folks. So let's go ahead.
Thanks, Carmel, and thanks for working. Tim?
I think I prefer to stay quiet right now, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Manny, do you have any reports you'd like to give forward?
Hispanic Chamber is met. They're playing the Cinco de Mayo festival they've locked in the date of May 9th. Anyone looking to volunteer, anybody wanting to go down there, please get a hold of Adriana down at the Hispanic Chamber at the Southern Colorado Memorial Museum. Also, Southern Colorado Miners Memorial Museum is looking for boosters, anybody wanting to donate. They're looking for booster members, so all donations are welcome. And update on the senior centers, they are doing great. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Manny. Danny?
Madam Mayor, I gotta apologize, this is when I was supposed to ask Tara. I'm no longer staff. So, other than that, no ma'am, I have nothing.
Okay, thanks you. Franklin?
I have nothing at this time. I have to catch up on some stuff.
We're glad you're back.
We're so glad you're back. We're so glad you're back. My report, I attended the Colorado Municipal League Legalities of Government. It was a great day and a half in Denver of really learning deep government. That was great for me. Of course, I think we've all taken a lot of phone calls on the utility rates and the ordinances. Community engagement, the board vacancies, a lot of people have reached out. I don't know, an updated list on this week we'll need. The Downtown Economic Pulse went in a lot of businesses this week and was there. You and I have talked and worked on a little bit of the state of the city planning, and I too have worked with Keep Trinidad Safe a little this week, so we're moving forward. Consent agenda approval. The consent agenda can be adopted by a simple motion. The consent agenda will be read aloud prior to a vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a council member for individual consideration. Is there anything on the consent agenda approval that anybody feels necessary to remove?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as written. I would like to note and offer a note of appreciation for Derek Thomas continuing to serve on boards. He's been a perennial member and just really seems well engaged, and I very much appreciate his presence. So I wanted to note that in the motion.
Absolutely, thank you. Second on that?
Second.
So we'll need approval on the consent agenda with the bills totaling $2,314,790.62.
Peters,
Yes.
Rossetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Abstain.
Trehill,
Yes.
Venor,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Number 6, consent agenda approval for the payroll.
It's all part of
That's all part of it, okay? Public hearings? Do we have any public hearings? No. Number 8, miscellaneous business. A, consideration of appointment to the E-911 Authority Board.
So, Madam Mayor, I submitted my letter to fill this position. The E-911 Authority Board is 7 members. The city appoints 4, the county appoints 3. Our police chief and fire chief sit as 2 of our appointments. One has been the previous, the one that's sunsetting this month is our police lieutenant, and the other one is a community member. In the coming year, the U91 Authority Board is considering some major investments in infrastructure. Right now, we're talking about how our dispatch works. We dispatch for the county, we dispatch for the ambulance district, we dispatch for all of the fire districts, as well as certain areas of state and regional agencies. Sorry, I'm losing my words. I think it's really important right now. We've never had a city manager sit on that board. For me to understand how that works, understand those relationships. I don't see this as a long-term appointment. I'd like to sit on it for the term is 3 years. I'd like to at least sit on it this next year. Understand a little bit about the police perspective, a little bit about the fire perspective. As the city manager, I can sit between those two. I also believe this will help strengthen our relationship with other agencies. So I've asked to sit on this appointment.
And that's an item A under,
Consideration of appointment.
consideration of appointments. Shall we talk about it?
A motion, second, and then discuss.
Okay, a motion,
So moved.
second,
Second.
so discuss. Manny?
No discussion needed.
I have none, I think she'll do great.
No discussion. I appreciate your eagerness.
Yeah. And I too, I think it's a fabulous thing that the city manager would understand the 9/11 program in our town. It's actually, to me, it's,
I'd like to make a point too, that's really good that we have somebody from Trinidad City representing that board, because at times past it's been kind of a mess in the board, so I think that's really a good thing that you step forward to be on that board.
yeah.
And it'll really help a lot.
Thank you.
Item B,
Call the vote.
vote.
Sorry.
Peters,
Yes.
Grizzetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Item 8B, consideration of a resolution to change the signatory on the existing state revolving loan fund for the water tank rehabilitation project.
Madam Mayor, Ms. Vihil is going to come forward on this item. This is related to the $3.45 million loan we have with the State Revolving Loan Fund and the signatures on that loan. Thank you, Ms. Vihil.
Hello. So this is just basically general housekeeping with regards to the loan. So the resolution requires 2 signatories on there. Tara Marshall being one, and our former mayor Karen Grego was the second one. So this is just, again, housekeeping, and it would be changed to your name now.
Discussion?
I have some concerns.
You can sign that.
You're just a card tonight. Just kidding.
Okay, call?
We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Peters,
Yes.
Grizzetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes. Item 8, miscellaneous business C, introducing a motion for the first reading of an ordinance for the purpose of adjusting the rates for electric service, power, and energy, and setting a public hearing for said ordinance at 6 p.m. on February 17, 2026.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you give me a brief summary of what's going on? Because I missed that meeting and that. Just a brief idea of what we're
Be
trying
happy
to do here.
Councilmember Shu, could we have an introduction, a first and a second, and then I'd be happy to
Oh, sure.
provide the,
That's fine.
yeah.
An introduction of first?
I'll introduce it.
Okay, Councilmember Shu introduces.
So moved.
Williamson first. We need a second.
Second.
Peter seconds. Okay. Thank you. Sure, I'm happy to cover this. This is one of 5 ordinances which are scheduled. They were passed last February 2025. They scheduled regular annual increases on March 1. This is the ordinance regarding power and light department. The ordinance called in 2026 for the council to review the rate increases for financial consideration, for financial need. The ordinance required a 7.5% increase on commercial and a 4% increase on residential. At the work session last Monday, the council was generally polled. There was a variety of opinions. I did pass on your opinion when the variety of opinions were given. And the council's direction was, at least a majority of the council's direction, was to lower that commercial rate to 4%. So this would be an amendment of the existing ordinance, lowering the commercial rate to be 4% to match the residential rate at 4%. The first, obviously, we're introducing tonight. It will be published tonight if it's approved without amendment, or whether it's approved with amendment, with direction to staff to amend. You're setting the public hearing for February 17th. So what you're doing tonight is providing feedback to staff if you want to move forward with it as it exists. If you don't, what change you want, and then you're setting the public hearing for February 17th. We need to have the public hearing on February 17th. If we go past the March 1st date, just a reminder to council that the existing ordinance would stand at the 7.5% commercial rate increase and 4% residential. So it is necessary to move forward with the public hearing if you want to lower that 7.5% to 4%. Councilmember Shu, did that cover this particular one?
And it has nothing to do with residential stuff.
Right, residential's 4%, and we're just lowering commercial to be 4%. So we're amending the ordinance. And I'm happy to cover gas under the next item.
Okay.
And then I'll cover water, sewer, and landfill in my council report.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, it's discussion.
All these increases are based on a 50-year computer program model?
I believe it was
Can
20
you tell me
years.
about 20?
20-year computer model that took into account needs, future projects, and anticipated inflation rates as those 20 years passed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Veal is here. We also have Mr. Cordova from Power and Light, but I'm happy to keep answering questions. I'll call on them when I can.
If I may, Mayor. Obviously, this is a exceptionally difficult consideration to undertake. I would say that nobody up here ran because they thought it was going to be fun. Everybody up here ran because, one, they care about Trinidad, and everybody came to this audience tonight because they care about Trinidad. That includes the people that are past their regular working day here because you care about Trinidad. It's our job as the city council to ensure that we have fiscal responsibility for the city. And I say this with the utmost respect to everybody that had public comment tonight on the utility rate increase. It's not governed by strictly the will of everybody, because if it was based on will, we would all vote to provide utilities at no cost, and that can't work. Or we could even all vote to provide utilities and pay people to receive the utilities. We know that won't function. Our job here is to ensure that the utilities are fiscally responsible and funded in a manner that will be equitable in an ongoing fashion. Therefore, tonight, we're just simply saying, let's have the hearing going forward. I personally, and you know, it's up to the will of council, obviously, but I think that our budget was created on the 4.7, right, 4 and 7.5.
It was created on the anticipated increase of 7.5 on commercial and 4% on residential.
Yeah. So if we pass on the both lowered to 4, we're going to have a shortfall of our anticipated budget. The point is I would like to see a discussion on the ordinance as written, because we could amend it at that time, could we not?
You can provide, so you can, tonight's vote is to set the public hearing. You're correct about that.
But
you can give us direction if you want to see the ordinance different than as it appears tonight on February 17th.
I think it's important that we have the hearing, maintain fiscal responsibility to the city, and the last thing that I'll say is that percentages are themselves, in effect, a respecter of the size of the bill, because a percentage of a smaller number is a much, much smaller number. A percentage of a larger number is still a smaller number, but is larger by the factor. So that's what I would have to say. We have fiscal responsibility towards the city. This isn't undertaken in any way lightly.
I would also point that Ms. Veal has left some information at your place. If you would like to talk outside of percentages and more in numbers, she's happy to come forward. I just volunteered.
That would be great. Linda, Ms. Veal.
So I'd like to clarify, and I apologize, I was trying to put information together fairly quickly this afternoon because of questions that were coming in. So our gas utility director is like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, sorry. So my apologies, it was fairly quick. So this sheet that I left here for you, it's information from 2025. So it's January through December. So that first column under electric, under the count, under commercial, 7,576. We do not have that many meters, commercial meters. It's looked at on an annual basis. If you look over in column 6, 2025 2025 average customer count, it's 631. So I apologize for that. Like I said, it's fairly quick. The electric also under the commercial is not, because we have different billing categories under the electric. And so we've got the general electric, which is commercial, and then we've got the large light and power, I believe that's what it's called. And so the numbers reflected there are not very true to that. So I did print sample utility bills and omitted names on there. So if I can just kind of run you through. So the first one is labeled residential, commercial general electric, and then commercial electric with demand. That's the large light and power category. I always say the electric ordinance is a little bit hard to, the rates, when we were trying to put all this information together, it's like, let's pick on gas instead. But I just kind of want to run you through real quick. So if we look at the residential, if you look at the, under the electric category, right here, it shows you the usage for this particular customer, and it was 1,191 kilowatts. So if we look at our breakdown, and the monthly charge for that customer was $14.56. Based on the kilowatt usage, the first 600 is at one rate, and currently that rate is 0.1511. So I took the first 600, multiplied that times the 0.1511, and then anything over the 600 is a different rate, which is 0.1303 kilowatts. So that's the $77 and a penny, for a total of $182.23. I didn't figure the taxes in this bill. They're adjusted. I'm sorry, they're not adjusted. They are identified on that particular utility bill. But if you take the EL customer service charge, which is $14.56, the electric energy and delivery charge of $167.67. With the new rates at 4%, this customer would be looking at $15.14 for a monthly service charge.
15 what?
$15.14.
Does that mean $15.14, and it was $14.56?
Correct.
So we're talking about 44, 54, 55 cents.
Difference?
Okay, just making sure
Yes.
that we're all on the same page.
Yes,
55 cents.
And I don't have the individual breakdowns, but I have the net difference of what the bill. Okay. Again, based on the consumption that this customer used, 1,191 kilowatts. The first 600 at the new rate, which would be 0.1571, the charge would be $94.26 over the 600 kilowatts, which would be the remaining 591 kilowatts. So it would be $80.08. So the 591 is multiplied times 0.1355.
So the first one, the first rate goes from 0.1515 to 0.1571.
Correct.
And the second one goes from 0.1303 to what?
To
0.1355.
correct.
0.1355.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's actually a net difference of 0.0052.
Okay.
anything over 600 kilowatts, and the first 600 kilowatts would be 0.0060.
That sure sounds a lot more palatable than 4%.
It does. It does, but it's,
Yeah.
again, when you hear increase percentages, it's a bit overwhelming.
What was the actual dollar difference on the just electric side?
$7.25
Okay.
for the residential.
With the average use of 1,191 kilowatts, is what you're
Yes,
saying?
it's based,
Yeah, that's
obviously it's
okay.
gonna be based on customer usage. I tried to go through, I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I'm happy to,
No, that looks like a good average. It looks like a high average, actually.
I tried to pick
Okay.
high users. Okay, so if you'll look at your other sample utility bill that's labeled commercial general electric, so this falls under that category. So the monthly charge for that currently is $25.80. It's projected with the 4% increase. Again, I did just 4% based on what council had told us at the work session. So we would go to $26.83. Okay, based on this customer's usage, 5,393 kilowatts. The first 1,500 kilowatts is billed at 0.1638. So this customer would have been billed $245.70 for that first 1,500. Anything over the 1,500, which was 3,893 kilowatts, they were billed at 0.1423. And so that amount was $553.97. The bill for that particular should have been $825.47 plus taxes. I did not include any taxes in these numbers. Based on 4% increase on this particular billing category, the monthly charge would go to $26.83. The first 1,500 kilowatts at the 4% increase would be 0.1704, so $255.60. The remaining kilowatts would be billed at 0.1480, $576.16. That bill would come to $858.59. A difference of $33.12.
And that's the commercial electric.
So
That is general electric.
I think it's important to note for all of those that are listening and not seeing this, it's $34 roughly, right?
Yes,
$33.12.
$33.12.
Oh, is that including the service charge? Oh.
Yes, I just did
I'm
not
sorry.
include taxes. It's okay.
This does look like for a larger business.
But that is my point.
Yeah.
We're talking about, so the public can understand, we are talking about a bill that prior to this increase is $4,940. So it is going to increase, if this went through as written, by $33. So appreciable money, absolutely.
This
but-
particular bill, yes.
Correct,
Yes.
but I mean, it's $33 on 5,000. So
That's the way I'm reading it too.
Yeah.
It's
So,
a big business.
I'm talking about total expenditure,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
yes. Okay,
Okay.
so the next sample bill, this is the large light and power. So these are the customers that have a demand meter on them and use quite a bit of power. So the current monthly charge on this particular one is $53.75. The kilowatt usage for this particular customer is 95,640. The first 10,000 is billed at .1335. So that total would be $1,335. Anything over the 10,000 kilowatts is billed currently at .1208. So the $85,640 would have been billed at that particular rate, $10,345.31. The demand charge on this particular one was $1,961.99. The total bill for this particular customer was $13,696.05. With the 4% proposed increase, the monthly charge would go to $55.90 for this customer. The first 10,000 would be billed at .1388, so $1,388 for that first 10,000 kilowatt hours. The usage over that 10,000 kilowatt hours would be billed at .1256, $10,756.38. The demand on this one, $2,041.41, for a total of $14,241.69. So this is where you're going to see the difference. $545.64 is the difference between those particular. That doesn't look right.
And that must be a large commercial property.
That doesn't look right.
Math wasn't math.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. These fingers aren't working too good anymore. My apologies. Just check it. I don't know why this keeps resetting on me.
No problem. I want to thank Ms. Field for pulling this together in the final hours of today. We wanted to show you some real live examples of residential, small commercial, and large commercial.
Yeah, that's a nice comparison to a regular one.
I have a question. When did they do this study or this plan?
It was started to be talked about in the late fall of '24. It was discussed into '25, and these ordinances were approved in February of '25 for second reading.
And did they base it on the usage, or how did they come up with their numbers?
They based it on the budget numbers, the expenditures, and what was anticipated in the future expenditures for inflation, for projects, and for future operational needs.
It's just my mind thinking, I didn't know if, like, the marijuana grows were part of this discussion, and if, because we don't have them like we used to.
May I defer to Councilmember Williamson and Trill or Shu, as I was not at that discussion, so I can't say specifically if marijuana grows. We're
Because
included in that.
the grows back then were using a lot of power, a lot of water, a lot of gas. So if they base their numbers off of that, and they're not there anymore.
Well, it was based on, it's kind of I think it was kind of a strange deal because it was based on the economy at that time.
Exactly.
Right.
that's
So
what
now
I
the
mean.
economy has changed, and the same thing would be with, like, when you asked the question about how long it was. Well, we still have the option to add, to vote an
Right.
ordinance for the increase or decrease.
Just on these two, though.
Yeah, no, it should be on all of them.
I'll
correct?
be happy to address that in my council
Okay.
report.
But that was based on the economy then, and since then, the economy's changed. So that you can do anything you want on a computer, but in real
Yes.
life, it's different.
That's what.
I mean,
yeah.
our things have changed so much, our economies, everything
I would
has made a big difference. And the usage, we've lost a lot of businesses that have went down, and we
I
don't
would
have that.
just remind you that part of that changing economy is that we've seen the enterprise go into the negative numbers. In other words,
Right.
when we adopted the budget this last December, it was at a loss.
Right.
Do we want to let Ms. Vihil finish
Yes.
before we
Yes, I'm
close
sorry.
the
It's okay.
conversation?
It's okay. Okay,
We were giving her time.
Yes.
recollect myself here. Okay. So, well, I won't jump into gas because I have gas. So I'm not gonna
If you
jump
could please
into,
hold that, yeah.
I won't jump into gas yet.
What was the number you got on that, Linda? I got 12,144.38.
My calculator keeps resetting and I don't know if it's because
Whatever.
it's solar,
Did you
so
get it?
I didn't.
I didn't write.
What did you get, Councilmember
I
Trujillo?
mean,
I got 12,144 on the energy delivery. So it looks like it came down.
so, what,
We can get back with
This-
you with
this
this
is-
particular number.
This is what I would say in support of what Councilman Shu said. These considerations were based on an economic snapshot at the time that we were afforded. And obviously those conditions are changing. They're always changing. And they're in flux. We're hoping for change to continue. I mean, we're taking pilot, there's a lot of opinions on pilot, but it is bringing, and we can prove that to some degree, it is bringing a whole new pie of revenue out there to the exit. So they're gonna add a building, there's gonna be increased electricity needs, so electrical needs go up and down, to your point with the grows. However, what doesn't go up and down, it may go up if we add, say if we were to add Cougar Canyon, we would have to start maintaining more plant. But primarily speaking, the miles of plant that we have remain, the number of transformers that we have remain, the needs of maintenance at the power plant remain. So we have fixed infrastructure that needs maintenance. The only way that you collect revenue for this maintenance is the sale of kilowatt hours. And I know that you know that, but a decreasing kilowatt hour actually becomes more onerous to the facility than increasing. So it becomes more important that we do what we're about to do and examine it and have the rate case. It's not based on desire, it's based literally on need. And as Ms. Vihil did such a good job of explaining, these are, while they impact every single person in this town and that they potentially have the impact them greatly, it's important that we look at the need because the health of the utilities survives as a whole. The individuals can contribute to the whole. The last thing that I would say is it's important that we're having this discussion, and I'm glad we did, because you can't examine it as percentage. Percentage doesn't show impact to people. Dollars show impact to people. So as we saw with the residential, we're talking about a smaller income on the large commercial. It is absolutely larger. So I think at this point we can have all these discussions in the hearing. I would respectfully submit that we convene and just vote for the hearing. I would ask that we vote for the hearing.
I'd just like to make one more point, and just to go with this, just for transparency. Going with the 4% and dropping these down, we're still gonna be operating at a deficit of $256,485. And what we're supposed to be doing is operating our budgets flat. So we're still absorbing. So we're not increasing to the 8% that we should, and I believe it was an 8% that lines us flat. Walsenburg went ahead and took everybody up to 9%. We won't do that to our people. So I hope that you guys take that into consideration when we make our decisions, that we're not trying to hurt you, we're trying to minimize the impact to go through and do the best, make the best decision for us, but to keep us afloat and to keep our utilities local and keep them ours. Other communities are paying upwards of 21 cents. We're barely paying 15 cents. We can't afford that if anybody else comes in at 21 cents. And heaven knows, in a year to 2 years from now, that may be at 32 to 40 cents. So there is no way. And I know some people disagree. The research is online and it's all there. So I've already looked it up. We've gone through. I'd like to make a motion to set the hearing for, accept the first reading and set the hearing for February 17th.
I believe we have a motion already. We had to introduce a first and a second.
And then call the vote.
Does anybody else have any
Anything
discussion?
else?
Danny,
I'm ready to
is there
go.
anything else you want to say? No?
Discuss it in
Anybody else?
Mhm.
So you would like us, just for clarity for staff, we're voting on setting the hearing for February 17th.
The public hearing.
The public hearing,
Yes.
correct? We're gonna bring back the ordinance as presented tonight, and then you'll discuss and decide on that night. Okay, everybody clear?
Did we
Questions
make
for
a
staff?
motion?
Okay, you already have it.
We already,
We're ready to vote.
No, call
just the
vote.
vote.
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Just for the record and for myself, that I am voting yes for the hearing and for the hearing only.
Correct, to set the
Thank you.
hearing.
Just vote, yeah.
Shu,
Yes.
Trujillo,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
The hearing is set for February 17th.
The hearing set for February 17th. Introduce a motion for the first reading of an ordinance increasing the gas delivery charge applicable to all customer service classifications and setting a public hearing for said ordinance at 6 p.m. on February 17th, 2026.
I'll introduce.
All motion.
Second.
Madam Mayor, once again, this is the second ordinance that the council provided direction to staff to amend. The ordinance says that on ordinance did say prior to the work session that the gas delivery charge only, and we have some staff that can come forward and clarify that. The gas delivery charge only was going up 2.5%. Council had a robust discussion. The majority of council provided direction to double that, to make the gas delivery charge increase by 5%. So Councilmember Shu, that was the ordinance change, was to increase the gas delivery charge from 2.5% to 5%. And so that's the discussion. Director Steve Carreau is here, so is Ms. Vigil, and I'm sure they will come forward and provide you information and answer questions. Would you have any questions for me prior to them coming up? This is a similar motion, so we're setting the public hearing for February 17th. But if you'd like some clarification.
Let's ask Mr. Carroll and Ms. Vigil to come up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good evening.
Council. So the 2.5% was based on the Waterworth study that we did with the computers. With my budget that we did for 2026, it's showing that I have a shortfall of $61,770. Based on the 2024 consumption, is where I was getting with the 2.5%, we would get an increase of approximately $33,000 a year. At the time I did that, we didn't have the 25 consumption. I do have it right now. I haven't calculated it. I could kind of do a real close guesstimate on that. We were down in 375,000 CCF than we were in 2024. So with that, we're probably at about $31,000 increase with the 2.5%. You had voted to increase that to 5%, or you had had a discussion about that, to increase that to 5% to try to get us closer to balancing out our budget. With the 25 consumption that we had, which was lower than 24,
Mhm.
we would get about a $62,000 increase in that, which would balance our budget out by about $1,000.
And can you explain for all of us why the figures for 25 are less than 24?
Pretty much because the weather was warmer through the months of November, December in 2025. Looking at the billing, consumption for those 2 months, each one of those months was down. 2025 January was lower than 2024 January also.
Is that also because people are building more electric than they are gas?
No, that wouldn't decrease it, we're just not gaining at that point. We don't have a decrease because of that, we just don't have a gain. So we're staying stale at that point.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah.
Crowe. Does-
Do we have the actual dollar impact?
Yeah, that's-
I could show you on these bills kind of what the dollar impact would be. So going with the 5%, it's going to be 0.011, which is basically 1 cent per CCF, a little bit more if you have a calculator. So on the residential one, the gas usage was 121, and again, this is based on November to December consumption. I usually like to go with the January. That's our highest consumption year.
Steve, do you want my calculator?
We could probably figure it out pretty close. So the 121 CCF times the 0.011, I would say it would go up about $1.30 per month.
For the residential?
For the
business,
residential.
$1.31.
This kind of seems like it's a smaller usage. I spoke with Glenna last week downstairs in the billing office, and between both of us looking at this stuff, we kind of came up with an average of about 275 CCF for a 3-bedroom, 2,000 square foot home, roughly about that. Now they all vary because of windows and insulation and stuff like that. At that, with even that, it would be about a $2.80 increase.
For 2,000 square feet.
And that, and again, that's in our coldest month of January. So in the summertime, it would be a lot less. It'd be 30 or 40 cents. Going to the business that we have here, which has 637 CCF, increase would be about $6.50.
For the business
For,
that has
for,
a...
for the business that has 637 CCF.
And would you say that's an average for, I don't know that business size, but it looks like it's a fairly big business?
I would say that's a mid-sized business. One of our largest businesses in town is 10,000 a month, 10,000 CCF during the January months. So this is, I don't know what business this would be. I'm guessing it would.
We're not supposed to guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not saying on here. I would think it would be a mid-sized business.
Yeah.
Maybe like Lowe's or something like that.
Yeah.
Something of that size.
Okay.
Maybe a little bigger, but
And the increase would be for that $6?
about $6.50.
Okay, $6.50.
On a $5,000 basis.
It would be
Yeah.
$7.
$7. Thank you for that so much, Mr. Crowe. Linda, do you have anything else that is really good for us to hear?
I do not. You covered it well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda.
Mayor, may I make one comment?
Sure.
I promise to keep it short.
Sure.
Frankly.
It's changed since I left.
Frank was remembering why you left. What I would say is collectively, the staff and the management work to identify places where we can save, and we've had it mentioned over and over before, the gas storage, which doesn't need to be belabored tonight, but that is an incredible way that, there was cities in the cold snap that had huge gas bills to their people. We take great pains to prevent that here. Frank can attest to the solar plant that we're bringing in to lower peak load, which will in turn lower our demand costs over the last, whatever call it, last plant miles.
Yeah.
So we're working with ARPA to lower. My point is it's a fiscal reality that we have to operate in the black, but we are taking, when and where we can, we are taking opportunity to lower operating costs, and all of those are continually looked at, and when this happens again next year, it'll be looked at that point. But we look at as we're functioning right now with all the economic conditions, and then we look at as we develop the budget, we look at our actual budget conditions, and that's how we do this. But I appreciate all the effort.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Any other questions, Madam Mayor, for staff on the gas?
Anybody else have any other questions to ask?
No.
Do we have a motion for a public hearing?
We've already done it, introduced, motion and second.
Do we go?
Peters,
Yes.
Rossetti,
Again, just clarifying a yes for the hearing only.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Lenore. Yes. Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
So the public hearing is set for Tuesday, February 17th.
Item number 9, thank you everybody for that. That is such a deep and hard thing, and there's been so much study and work on it with prior and with us now. It's really intense for everybody, but thank you so much for everybody. I know everybody's been working on it this week. Item number 9, reports by city manager and city attorney.
Okay, I would like to start with Councilmember Rossetti's request. So last February in 2025, 5 ordinances were passed. Those ordinances set annual increases, as Councilmember Peters suggested, after a 20-year study was done. Those ordinances were Power and Light, which was a 7.5% increase on commercial and a 4% increase on residential. Your direction to us was to lower that commercial to 4%. You've set the public hearing on that discussion tonight. The second ordinance was landfill. That is an annual, or for 2026, the request was a 3% increase, and then after the 3% increase, bump it up to the next quarter. We did not receive feedback from you to change that, therefore that is going forward. Unamended is an existing ordinance. The third ordinance was water. That ordinance called for a 5% increase for 2026 on March 1. Once again, the feedback was not to amend that ordinance, so that ordinance is going forward for the increase on March 1. The next increase was gas, which you provided direction to double that from 2.5 to 5%. You've set the public hearing for that discussion tonight. The final one was sewer, which was a 7% increase. That one we did not get feedback, so it is not being amended either. It's going forward for increases. I want to report that we received that feedback from you on Monday, January 12th. By Thursday, January 14th, Ms. Vihil's department had 4,600 letters. Perhaps you've received one at your home stating that we would be holding a public hearing for the Power and Light and for the gas increases, and that we would be having water and sewer increases on March 1st. That is required by the Public Utilities Commission, and I want to thank Ms. Vihil for that incredible work. You couldn't come into City Hall on Thursday without every single desk having a sheet of letters on it as they were applying labels. So thank you to the staff for getting those labels out and making us compliant with that request. Before I go on, I want to entertain if you have any questions for me on where we stand with those 5 ordinances right now. Okay, thank you for the clarification. While our gas department is here, Mr. Carreau, our gas director, I want to commend them for the amazing work that they did on the convent and church project. You may remember 2 weeks ago that I announced on January 12th they were going to close down the street in front of the church and do a gas project, and we anticipated that being a potential 2-week closure. I want to reiterate to you that they did it in 3 days and that the street was back open, and not only was it open, but it was clean and absolutely passable. So thank you to our gas department. I want to commend the director for coordinating with the church and all the businesses and all the deliveries, and say that this is a perfect example of what types of customer service that our departments provide. So this was a great opportunity to highlight that. I wanted to lead off with that tonight. A couple of other updates. I attended the CML Policy Committee meeting as the alternate last Friday as Madam Mayor was in the CML Mayor's Conference. They kicked off the discussion by talking about what we can anticipate this session, some changes to some marijuana laws, some changes to some urban renewal laws. They plan to oppose some of those and to support some of those. So as bills are introduced yet, and they hadn't seen the bills yet as of last Friday, but as bills are introduced, I will be providing memos to you. I'll be working with Madam Mayor to communicate with you about what the bills say and if there's a position that the City Council wants to take on those. If there is a position you want to take on these bills, I would encourage you, we may want to step forward and do some testimony in front of the Colorado Assembly explaining why those bills are important to our community. So this was a good kickoff for me, and thank you once again for appointing me as the alternate and giving me the opportunity to sit on that committee. The adult reading program with the library kicked off today. So its first year, we had about 12 participants. Last year, we had close to 20. This year, their goal is 35. So we're all adults. I would encourage you to go to the library's website and consider reading some of the books in the adult reading program. Several years ago, PBS did a program called The Great American Read, where they identified the top 100 books, not by scholastic means, but by what Americans like to read. So, Harry Potter made the list, and, Anne of Green Gables made the list, and the top book was To Kill a Mockingbird. So they're doing that for the 250th celebration of the United States. They're using that book as one of their bases for the adult reading program. So consider downloading that list and looking at it. The police department's undergoing an internal process to select a new lieutenant, so you may be hearing something about that. That kicked off in January. This is going to allow for 2 positions that work directly under the chief. This will divide the oversight of the department, how he sees fit once he has that second lieutenant. This is the beginning of many steps that we're going to see the police take to kind of reimagine the department and reorganize it. So we're excited about that, and stay tuned. Fire Chief's going to be bringing forward on February 9th the Wildland Urban Interface. Its nickname is WUI. I don't know how WUI it is, but we're going to talk about it on February the 9th. And then we'll be talking about the state recommendations, the state requirements, and we're going to urge local control on this to adopt our own version of the code, but I'm going to stop talking about it and let the fire chief tell you about it in a few weeks. Once again, fire chief and one of our fire captains are attending the Colorado Emergency Managers Conference. This is our first time as a municipality to attend that. It's in Loveland in February. One of the municipal areas of responsibility that we're concentrating on in the coming year is emergency management. It's essential to the culture that we develop within the city. We have to talk about preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery. This was an area I was privileged to work in DOLA, and I'm excited to see us branching into that. Both Chief and I have had the opportunity to meet with the new emergency manager that the county appointed, and we're looking forward to working with them in developing a culture of emergency management. Just a reminder, we're holding our first listening session tomorrow at noon at Space to Create. Any topic is open. It can be utilities, it can be unhoused, it can be public safety, it can be tourism, it can be the library adult reading program. We're ready to hear and talk with the community about all of these things. This is the first in a series of community outreach meetings we're going to hold to engage the public outside of our meetings. Want to remind you, we talked about this at the work session. This is the first we're holding, and the purpose is to have dialogue with city leadership. So while the mayor and I are doing this first event, we expect and hope that all of you will participate in the event at some point sitting on the stage. We're also hosting the State of the Community joint session with the county next Tuesday, January 27th. So we're expecting Commissioner Felix Lopez, the chair of the Board of County Commissioners, to provide the State of the County address. We're looking forward to Madam Mayor presiding the State of the City address. We want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo for introducing her and welcoming everyone for the city. In direct response to these utility rate increases, the city staff is going to hold a series of community meetings. This is not precluded for you to attend. We're happy to post it, but this is staff directed so that people can bring their utility bills, people can bring their questions, and we will sit and go through it with them. We're going to hold the first one the last week in January. We're going to hold the next one the first week in February. We're going to hold the third one the second week in February. And then that third week on February 17th will be the public hearing. They'll be at 6 o'clock in the evening. They'll either be here or they'll be at Space to Create. And we're going to announce the days for those tomorrow. So it's open to the community. It's come and address staff. And we're going to do our best to answer those questions. We haven't done that before, so we're going to try to do that. Councilmember Peters, right after being elected, talked to the city about holding public meetings to engage the public. It wasn't on this subject, it was on a different subject. But we're following that by starting. So between now and the setting of the public hearing you did tonight, we anticipate having 3 public events, okay? We did the walkthrough on Alley A project on Friday and developed a final punch list. We're getting very close, and I hope to advise you in 2 weeks on the final day. The punch list was small, but we're entertaining the last couple of items like putting doors on the trash enclosure, maybe a dimmer on the lights, so we're down to the very last. If you haven't walked through, I don't know if they've left it open to the public. It's not our site yet. It still belongs to the contractor under his insurance. Please stop by and look. It looks fabulous at night with the lights on. So we're getting excited about that and looking forward to maybe a ribbon cutting in March. Once again, I'll advise you in 2 weeks. Power and Light Department will be installing the lighting at the pickleball courts over potentially the next 3 weeks. Those lights will be in on the 26th of January. We expect after that, after they're installed, to bid out the final step, which is the ADA and pathway improvements that complete the project. Our goal is to open in time to host a spring tournament. So we're looking forward to that. We want to get the pickleballers on the court. We want to invite people out who've never played pickleball. Some of the pickleball folks have offered to give some lessons and do some demonstrations. So we're looking forward to having a tournament in spring. We'll see. It may be in late winter, the way the weather's going. It may be the sooner the better. It depends on whether we can get the concrete down. I want to remind council that we're bringing a resolution forward on February 3rd for the purpose of applying for funding from DOLA. We'll be asking for $200,000 from Department of Local Affairs to support the comprehensive plan update. Comprehensive plan updates are recommended around 7 years. Ours is 2017. We're just in time to catch it on the 10th year. So if we're able to get the funding this year from DOLA, we'll bid out the project by the end of the year. We already have the matching funds budgeted. So we're also planning and very excited to bring you the final report on Christmas cash. So look forward to that at our next meeting. The 15th, which was just a few days ago, was the final day for businesses to get their Christmas cash in. Next Monday at the work session, we've got quite a few applicants for boards and commissions. For those of you who haven't been through it, part of your responsibility is to interview them and to determine. The clerk's office will provide you with information in the packet that states the board they're applying for, the purpose of that board. I believe, do we offer sample questions?
We do.
Okay, great. Thanks, Attorney Dan. And Les will be able to help you walk through any of those questions or any questions that you have about that application. That happens at the work session, and then generally at the next meeting, which would be February 3rd, we'll have the official appointments in that meeting. We want to thank those that went to look at the water tank and took that field trip. I got nothing but positive feedback from you guys on the south side. This was the first of several field trips we want to plan, so you can get a close look at infrastructure. And so we're planning some exciting things for you to observe. Hopefully you'll take us up on that. In upcoming council meetings, we're scheduling several annual department head reports, such as Welcome Center, Library, Animal Shelter, and Space to Create. These are departments that you don't hear from a lot in asking for requests. So we want to have them come at the beginning of the meeting and just do kind of an annual report. The Lodging Tax Advisory Board has announced a grant round for the events and tourism activities in town. That grant round is budgeted, it's part of the existing budget for tourism, and that grant round will open February 1st. So just a reminder that when it closes and they do their evaluation, it will come to you as a recommendation of where that grant money is divided up, okay? Because we're using them as an advisory board as the ordinance requires. And then finally, we want to remind City Council and the community that we're celebrating our 150th anniversary on February 1st. The city turns 150 years old and she looks great and we are proud. So we hope that you'll join us at noon at Space to Create to join the festivities. We've sent out around, well, our target was 100. I don't know how many emails we actually sent to our partner agencies inviting them. We've also contacted local churches and provided them a letter and asked them to invite their congregations on that day. If you haven't received the letter, we'll make sure you have it. We would love to have everyone come after church on that Sunday or from their home if they don't attend church, and join us at Space to Create at noon that day. It will be festive. We have had a great deal of fun contacting former mayors. We have quite a few living mayors still in town, so we want to recognize city council members and especially our living mayors at that event. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, first of all, with being half of the board here new, I want to thank you because we have been pushing on you in all ways, and you have stood up to the plate, so thank you so much for that, Ms. Marshall. I do have a couple questions, a couple just statements. Is when we're so low in water, not ourselves, not our city, but the rainfall.
Yes.
Does the fire department have any provisions they take because for just being scared that any fire would start because it's so dry?
Why don't you allow us to huddle on that and we'll bring that back to
Okay.
you. I actually didn't meet with fire department today, I will on Friday, but I did meet with water department today to talk about the percentage. Mr. Vigil reported we're about 38% of where we normally are on snowfall. But he did say that the snows that matter are March and April. So we'll be actually talking about this in depth in terms of what we need to anticipate for the summer months of fire. But we will get back to you. I know Chief Bacharach is in the audience tonight.
I did also want to really give a shout out to being able to go into the water tank and see our whole water system and how many tanks we have around town, and doing the whole gravity water
Sure.
feed system. And the employees were just fabulous, and it was really impressive to see the state of our new tanks. It was really great that we have taken care of those for our community.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the meeting tomorrow too with our public, because it's real. So
Noon at Space
thank you so
Create.
much, and excited about the police department too. So thank you for that for everybody. Anybody else?
I just have a question about the listening sessions.
Yes.
So will there be feedback to the community? How would we?
If we can
how would
answer-
that look?
If we can answer it immediately, we will. If not, we will be taking down the question. We're happy to get back with the community. We can do it through a Facebook post. We can also do it directly with someone who asks us a question. This is our first one, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can tell you what it'll look like yet. We'll talk tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're gonna try.
Does anybody else have anything for Tara or Ms. Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. Dents, for your patience.
Thank you, Bill.
Reports from the city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I have two items I want to report on this evening. The first one is this. The Colorado Supreme Court recently had two case decisions. Those are NRA People v. Camp and NRA People v. Simons, that require that a local criminal ordinance, if it is identical to a statutory crime, the penalty for a violation of the ordinance cannot exceed the potential penalties provided by statute for the statutory crime. We have a number of fine assessment schedules that council talked about quite a bit some time ago. Anti-dilapidation ordinance and a few others, animal ordinances, that allow for the potential fines to exceed that of what are provided for by way of state statute. So there are a number of areas that staff will be looking at. just want to let you know we'll be bringing to council ordinance changes on the penalty assessments for those things. I saw an eye roll. Just sorry. Your thoughts?
How do we change state statutes?
Well, we'll change it.
Assembly.
Right, yeah, exactly, that's right.
And I guess I would like to know that the ordinance assessments, you're gonna see how we are comparatively to the state. But what about the ones that are much lower than the states? Could we get a list of what might be out there for ordinances that we are way behind in?
We can, sure. I mean, we could provide council with a list of penalty assessments and what the fine ranges are for traffic cases, misdemeanors, anti-dilapidation cases, things like that.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to do that. But the point of my comments here is that ordinances cannot exceed state law. So we need to look at that and just make sure that
Sure, absolutely, yes.
and we don't do that. So that was the first thing. The next thing, the last thing that I wanted to report on, and I sent you an email today. Don't know if any of you had a chance to look at this, but for those of you who know a little bit about this history, the city of Trinidad has been under an MOU, or a Memorandum of Understanding, from the Department of Justice for many years. And that was to ensure that we were complying with the ADA. That was brought about by a whole bunch of litigation, lawsuits that were filed against the city, primarily by an individual who was an ADA activist. I'm sure you'll all know the name of Stephen Hamer. Some litigation, by the way, that went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say, I was not the lawyer who handled that litigation for the city. A lot of people have said that I was and that I lost the case for the city. It was all SORSA attorneys and the whole practice in U.S. District Court and everything. But to my point, we, as a result of administrative complaints to the DOJ, and also as a result of having lost the litigation, we actually made bad law, as lawyers say. That is, if you take a case up and you lose, then you may make bad law, which is kind of used against you. But anyway, that's a digression. Since around 2017, we have been operating under this MOU that has required us every year to make very expensive, very extensive modifications to our city in compliance with this. So I want to say, before I get to the ultimate point of this, we've had really wonderful ADA coordinators. The first one was Tom Beach, who ensured our compliance with the ADA and the improvements that we needed to make every year pursuant to the MOU. And by the way, we had the DOJ coming down here all the time, and inspecting, making sure we were making the improvements we were supposed to make. I'm only a visitor in the world of public works, but we were spending like upwards of $1 million a year on the modifications that we had to make to try and comply with the ADA. Anyway, my point is, and the reason I brought this up, is, and I'm sorry, before I get to that, the other ADA coordinator that has been handling this since Tom Beach retired has been Bob Just. And Bob has been doing an absolute stellar job of this. But we recently received on January 9th of this year a letter from the lawyer who was assigned our matter in our case that they are going to be closing the DOJ matter with the city of Trinidad. And I have, again, sent you this letter by way of email. Now, it does not mean that we are in compliance with the ADA. We're a long way from that, and at any point in time, we could get sued again. That may be a subject for another time, especially in executive session. But we are now released from the MOU with the DOJ and the requirements that we have had on an annual basis to be in compliance with that. So it's wonderful news, and really kudos and a job well done to Mr. Just and to Mr. Beach as his predecessor. And that, you bet, thank you. And that, Madam Mayor and council members, is all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Downs.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, a special thanks to Tom Beach and Bob Just for doing all that. What are the sort of requirements annually that we had to do? Curb cuts and,
Yes, curb cuts, intersection modifications, right, sidewalks. The audible tone on the crosswalk at Main and Commercial, I mean, all those kinds of things.
well, no, it's a
And
good
you're-
question because
Right.
people ask
Right.
why that tone is. It's because the city was sued and they had to put that
That's
tone in for
exactly
ADA.
right. That's exactly right. Yep, very true.
And is there a dollars based on how much we have put into city sidewalks due to the non-compliance of,
We can bring that to you.
Right,
just
but
as an interest, I think the public needs to know how much work the city has done
Sure.
to make that happen.
tens of millions of dollars, and it has been a lot.
Mhm.
And I want to say too, as your lawyer, I need to say this, they were all very necessary
Mhm.
repairs. You know, one of the goals was to make it so it was ADA accessible from where Mr. Hamer lived all the way down to Mount San Rafael Hospital. And that was tough. And then from other locations, so the person in a wheelchair could really, navigate across the city and be able to do that. But
But it is really quite comforting now that anybody in a wheelchair can navigate so good around Trinidad. It really is great.
right, yeah. But that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Downs.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions for us?
I have a question. Does
Yes.
that mean you're going to discontinue making ADA improvements throughout the town?
No, we have 500,000, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We have 500,000 in this year's capital improvement, and we'll be recommending we continue that every year. Part of the reason is that we need to pave our streets. To stay out from underneath what Mr. Downs is suggesting, another DOJ MOU, we cannot pave a street until we've addressed the ADA on that street. So we address the ADA, then we pave, then we address the ADA, and then we pave.
Wow.
And one of the things we're looking at this year is a plan, which you will be providing feedback on how we organize that plan. Now that we're out from underneath the MOU, it doesn't preclude us, as Mr. Downs suggested. It will be part of our every year's plan to do ADA, but we need to start marrying that with our paving projects.
Right. And Councilman Peters, to your question, and one point I want to make is that the areas we were doing were heavily trafficked, like in the downtown, primarily in intersections and areas like that. There are places, this is an old town, obviously, and there are places throughout town that are way, way, way out of compliance with the ADA, where people in a wheelchair, say, cannot navigate, cannot get to certain areas. Obviously, we're not going to try to, rectify or fix everything, but there will always be a lot of things. We'll never be able to say that we are done with the ADA, and we never will be able to. And especially, I think, when repairs are made, like let's say there's a new block that's getting a new sidewalk, that I think, I don't really speak for the city, but I would think and I would hope that would absolutely be replaced with an ADA accessible, ADA compliant sidewalk, curb cuts, everything that would need to be in there. So just trying to answer your question.
So part of the difference is that they specified which intersections we needed to do.
They specify.
They did. We have complied with all but one, and they've released us because we've engineered that one, and it's coming. Okay, it's part of our plan this year. We get to decide now where we're going, but ADA is part of our fabric now. It's just like we're not opening pickleball courts until we have the ADA accessibility there. Because at any time, we could be hit again for not being compliant. So when we make our decisions, when we ask you to make the priorities, we're going to be having ADA as a discussion of everything. But they specified the intersections. The great change is we can now start specifying the areas. Between us, did we answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything for Mr. Downs? I just want to thank everybody truly tonight for showing up and being here. This is what makes a community, and That means our meeting will be over with at 7:29.
No,
If
we have
we-
another item.
Until the executive session.
Yeah, we have number 10.
And number 10. In the
Sorry.
executive session. Sorry. Everybody leave now.
You have to read the, Madam Mayor, if you can read the item.
Okay, executive session for a conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal question under CRS 224 6-402 4B, legal advice for actual and potential litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we need a vote.
Peters,
Yes.
Rosetti,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Lenore,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Michaels.
Yes.
5-minute break?
Okay.